I know it's been a minute. Thank you for being patient. What am I doing? I'm cooking because that's what I do. I am making for my family some chicken. Turn some more lights on, hold on. I am making some chicken because we have this thing in our household between my husband and I. The kids don't really care about this, but there are heavy meals and there are light meals. And ignore this. This is my next project, which is cleaning. There are heavy meals and there are light meals. So for the past several days, we have been eating heavy meals. So like those, meatloaf and mashed potatoes kind of meals, or ribs with baked beans and, potato salad and all that kind of stuff. Super heavy. We like to balance that, my husband and I, with light meals. And so my husband's been eating heavy for the past few days. My wonderful sweet mother-in-law was here for 4 days, I think it was. I had to go out of town to Rhode Island for a work trip, and she was here holding down the fort, which I highly appreciate. And in that, she was cooking all the favorites for the kids and things like that, which is beautiful. She was, making the baked chicken and the mashed potatoes and cube steak and all kinds of really amazing, incredible meals that were super heavy. And so my husband said, yeah, I'm getting a little thick around the waist, Boop, so can you kind of help me out? So what I'm doing today is I'm preparing a chicken because I'm going to roast it. And that chicken is going to go into an arugula and spinach salad with, I haven't decided what kind of dressing I'm going to make. Probably something lemony ginger, somewhere in that family. The salad is also going to have quinoa. It's going to have roasted vegetables. I think I have some butternut squash. If so, that's what I'm going to do. If not, I bought one red sweet potato from Whole Foods this morning. I've never had red sweet potato before, but we're going to experiment together. I'm not going to have this video be heavy on the actual preparation, but I will kind of chime in here and there with what it is that I'm doing. So thank you for being here for this. And for those of you who have seen my Instagram content about my mom, thank you so much for participating in that and for giving me the space to kind of let that out and to share. That was therapeutic for me. I will admit that at this point, I'm kind of like, can it be over now? I'm tired of talking about it. I'm in the phase of the grieving process where I would much rather bury my head in the sand and pretend it didn't happen. That's not how I always feel, but that's just where I am currently. So that's what I'm doing. So in any case, y'all, side note, I'm not exactly an animal person, but we got a bunny. Yes, a bunny. It is a lion head mix. So if you hear random scratching and scribbling in the background, that's what it is. It's the bunny. She's cute. I'll give her that. She's very, very cute. She's very sweet. I'm just getting used to what it means to have an animal in the house. She's small. She's petite. I'll do a little bit of content about her at some point. She's this beautiful chestnutty chocolate brown color. Her name, when she came to us, was S'mores. We got her from a rescue. Her name was S'mores. My daughter renamed her Reese's, as in Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, which is cute. So anyway, that's what you hear. So if I kind of perk my ears a little bit, like what's going on behind me, I'm still getting used to hearing something else in the house besides me during this time of the day. So I purchased a Spatchcock chicken from Whole Foods. I like them. I like making whole chicken, but I'll get back to the topic in a minute. I like cooking whole chicken a lot, but it's a lot more work. A Spatchcock has had the backbone taken out, all of it, had the backbone taken out. And so when you see it, it's kind of splayed. And that makes it easier for me, at least, to season, to manipulate, to kind of whatever I need to do to it in order to get it cooked. That's just what this is only my second time using it, but the first time I was like, oh my gosh, why haven't I been doing this all together? There are no giblets to pull out. There's no cavities to, unfold. It's just everything is splayed out. So I'm doing that. I'm also going to be doing some drumsticks separately because my kids love drumsticks. So in any case, after the chicken is roasted, it will then be kind of, I guess, not stripped, what's it called? Pulled, if you will. And then put into this, arugula salad with some kind of vinaigrette that I haven't decided what I'm going to make. We've gotten used to starting to make our own salad dressings, which is so incredibly flavorful and so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And it tastes so much better than the bottled stuff. Don't get me wrong, there are some good bottled dressings out there. However, there's nothing like making your own dressing. So I might make my just standard lemon garlic vinaigrette. Actually, I think it's like a lemon Dijon dressing of some sort. Anyway, I might do that. I don't know. Haven't decided. Perhaps something lighter because arugula leaves, although they're peppery in taste and flavor, they are a little bit lighter, so they can't really take a heavy, thick dressing. They need something that's kind of light and can flow with the process. And as I mentioned, I'm going to make some quinoa that will go into the salad as well, in addition to that red sweet potato. So, yeah, but let's dive in, shall we? Side note, what am I using to season? I have here 1.5 lemons that I will squeeze the juice of that onto my chicken. I will also use, this is a little tacky, but you know what? This is my house, okay? All right, this used to be Badia's garlic powder. I have, as you can see, scratched that out and said this is all-purpose seasoning. This is an all-purpose seasoning. I make this all the time. I keep this bottle full. And all this is 1 part garlic powder to 1 part salt, and then 1/2 part each of paprika and black pepper. And mix it up. It's the perfect all-purpose seasoning. It goes on everything when I tell you everything. It's just great when you just want to season but don't want to grab like several bottles. Just make your own all-purpose. It's like the best thing ever. I also I usually get these out of either at Dollar Tree or out of the pharmacy section from Target or Walmart, gloves. I prefer using gloves whenever I'm handling raw meat because I don't like raw meat underneath my fingernails. I didn't grow up this way. I discovered it. Actually, it was a hack that I discovered because when there was 1 year that my husband was off in training for his career, and I was at home alone with the kids for a year. And he came back as much as he could, but nevertheless, to the point. During that time, I have a toddler and I have an infant. And if the toddler and the infant were in the living room playing, and I'm cooking dinner, I'm making chicken, and something happens, I need to get to them urgently. Perhaps somebody has fallen down or, all the shenanigans that little kids get themselves into. I don't have time to put the chicken down and go wash my hands for 45 seconds to make sure all the germs are off before I go attend to my kid. I do, however, have time to quickly rip these off to reveal clean hands and then go attend to my children. So ever since then, I swear by using gloves. Now, granted, I do still wash my hands after. All right, so I'm back. I have my chicken here. This little tray that I have it in, if you've been to Whole Foods Market before, you know what these are. This is the tray that the Spatchcock, as I mentioned, it's just a chicken that has the bone taken out so it sits flat. I love these trays because all I do is, I wash, let me get myself situated here. I will wash my chicken as per usual, and then I actually wash out the tray as well so that I can use the tray to marinate the chicken. Now all I'm doing is I'm just taking a sharp knife and just poking holes all through the chicken. I'm sorry if that's grotesque for you, but what that does is it allows all the seasoning and all the, juices from all the marinades and such that I'm using to fully penetrate. So I have my Spatchcock chicken here. I also have a pan of 6 drumsticks over here to the side that I'm doing the same process to, so everybody can get seasoned. And I'll wrap with foil, put it in the refrigerator, and let it marinate for the rest of the day or until I'm ready to cook it. I think what I'm going to do is actually start with the underside of the chicken first and get this all nice and just taking the lemon and just squeezing it in. This is how I season my chicken 95% of the time. The other 5% of the time, I don't know, I might add in some lemon pepper seasoning. Actually, I may do that today for the spatchcock. For the regular, the drumsticks, since they're mostly for my kids, I will leave them as they are, let's say. Get that lemon juice in. And then I'm gonna take this other lemon and do the same thing. Get all that lemon juice. And then, because I don't want to contaminate the bottle of my seasoning with, you know, salmonella and all the other bacteria that chicken carries naturally, I am going to take off one of my gloves and keep that glove free of chicken and use the gloved hand to manipulate the chicken itself. So, I'm just going to use my thumb, grab this little free edge without touching my skin, and pull the glove off, revealing a hand that is free of chicken. And then I can just generously season my chicken. Anyway, and then after I season my chicken, I will let it sit in the refrigerator for, I don't know, what is it, 11:30 right now? Probably until 4 o'clock. Ideally, this would sit overnight, but, you know, no world is perfect, as we all know. I'm going to generously season the inside of my chicken as well. Make sure you get in the armpits of the chicken, of the wing. Make sure you get the backs of the thighs. It's kind of like putting on moisture and lotion. Make sure you get all the juicy details of the chicken. I like to press it in. And then just make sure, because no one's going to be eating the interior of the chicken, you still, I don't care. You still got to season both sides of the thing. I mean, it is what it is, right? And then again, like I said, I'll cover this in foil. And I usually clear off an entire shelf of my refrigerator for the day whenever I'm marinating chicken like this, just so that I don't accidentally get chicken on something that should not have chicken on it. Okay? Okay. And this is going to be delicious, I already know. So, what have I been up to? I clearly have, I don't know. It's been a day, it's been a week, it's been a month, it's been a month, y'all. So it started with, and I promise I won't talk about this for too long because I recognize not everybody wants to hear about it. And I also recognize for other people it may be triggering, so I won't harp on it. But just in terms of like what my life schedule has been recently. So my aunt through marriage, my sister cousin, I guess I'll call her. There are three of us, and I may have talked about them before. J and R, you know who you are. Love y'all. They are like sisters to me, even though technically they're my cousins. So her father and my mother are siblings. Her father's ex-wife's sister, who I've known all my life, passed away. And I wanted to be there because it was family, but then also to be there for my sister cousin Jay. And, you know, so that was kind of what happened. I don't know, late July, early August, somewhere in that ballpark. So that was a day trip to Atlanta. Hold please while I get this off my hand. That was a day trip to Atlanta, which was fine. And, you know, I had no problem being there for her. This is my lemon pepper seasoning. This is just Lowry's. Use whatever you like if you prefer, if you like to use lemon pepper. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on top, which is actually going to make this very peppery. Which is not the intention, but you know, whatever. And I'm going to add some more garlic powder because it feels like the right thing to do. Because I already know my son is going to find this to be too spicy. All right, so I went to Atlanta for a day trip for that funeral. fine. And so then I get back from that, and then I'm looking, towards the end of the summer. I'm looking towards finishing up whatever camps the kids have, and then going to, business as usual. Kids go back to school. Well, the kids were set to go back to school on August the 15th, I think it was. On August the 11th, I get the news that my mother has passed away. So that was a Sunday. The kids' first day at school was the following Wednesday, or Tuesday. It was the following Tuesday. So there was kind of the reckoning, if you will, of what has happened, followed by how is all this going to happen? I'm a big pile of glue for my family because of my husband's work and what he does. Him taking off work and flexing his schedule just is not really, it can be done, but it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of planning and a lot of prep work. So, it's the first time that my kids have not had me there doting over them, taking the pictures and doing all the things for the first day of school. Yet here I am finding myself having to get myself on a plane to go back to my hometown because of what has happened with my mom. So, she passes on a Sunday. By that Tuesday, I was able to see the kids quickly before they left for their first day of school. And especially considering that, my daughter and I have been talking about, how she wanted her hair done for the first day of school, like getting everything together and ready and everything. So in any case, got on a plane, went to my hometown to be with my brother and my dad, making the arrangements and all those kinds of things, and then deciding to fly back that Friday to be with my kids for the weekend, and then drive down as a family on that Sunday to go and lay my mother to rest, and then only to drive back on Wednesday. So that in and of itself, if you think about my aunt, then my mother, so 2 trips to my hometown for my mother, that was 3 trips in and of itself in the span of like 3 weeks. And then I find myself going to 2 weeks later, my aunt's house, which is a 3-hour drive away, more or less. Every year on Labor Day, we have kind of a little mini family reunion, and it is a tradition. And we thought about canceling it because of my mom's passing. And we said, no, let's continue on. Let's do this. Let's still get together. It can be healing for us to get together as a family, which we did. And yes, it was. It was a little triggering, I'm not going to lie, because it was, the last time I was at my aunt's house, my mother was there, kind of thing. But it wasn't horrible. I was surrounded by friends and family, and friends that I would call family, actually. So it was perfect in that sense. It's kind of what the doctor ordered, what I needed, because at this stage in the process, I really would much rather just bury my head in the sand and pretend that nothing even happened. I know that's not realistic, but I digress. So get back from Fayetteville, and then I find myself 2 days later on yet another plane to go to Rhode Island for work. And, I was really concerned because I told my client that I would be there for this, even though everything that was going on, because it was something that I committed to. And it was hard to get on that plane and go, but I said, you know what, I need to for me, just to kind of instill some semblance of assumed normalcy in my life. And so that's what I did. I added an extra day and a half onto the trip, just kind of tool around in Rhode Island, excuse me. It's a state I've never been to before. And just to kind of have a vacation. I had started maybe, I don't know, a year ago, having these sort of what I call vacations, where I go off and spend time by myself doing whatever it is that I feel like, waking up whenever I feel like it. It's basically a solo vacation for myself, to reset, to regroup, to kind of woosah and have a moment. And that is what I plan to do. And in fact, I had planned to add that time on long before my mother had passed. So this was just living out the thing that I said I was going to live out. And it was great. It was great to be away. And it was great to sort of just kind of move as I felt like moving, I thought to myself in part that, oh, well, I could spend that day and a half and just go back to my hometown, finish helping with packing and cleaning out and everything and finishing up the last bits for my mom, of my mom's passing. But I texted my brother and I was like, bro, I'm not even emotionally in a place to do that. And he understood. So I took a day for myself and now I'm back and the kids are back to school. I am exhausted. I do not recommend this, but I was so exhausted today when I was driving back from the grocery store. So I dropped the kids, went to the grocery store. Driving back, I was so tired, the 15-minute drive, that I decided to pull over in a safe place in a parking lot for a place that I actually know. And I locked my doors and set a timer and took a nap. Again, not behavior that I recommend, but even though I was about 7 or 8 minutes away from my house, I was too tired to drive all the way home. I had to pause for a minute. Will I ever do that again? I hope not, but it was what I needed in that moment to ensure that I got home safely. And again, this is like 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's not like it was in the middle of the night. And again, like I was in a very safe place for a major store it was a Home Depot parking lot. In any case, here I am, and now I'm back to the business of, dealing with chicken. Let me put this in the refrigerator. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I don't want this to spoil on me, that would be terrible. All right, friends, and despite what I just said about raw meat under my fingernails, I'm about to do do something that's gonna get raw meat under my fingernails. This is just some bacon that I purchased at Whole Foods. I don't normally buy my bacon at Whole Foods, but that's just where I was this morning. You gotta be, I try to keep my purchases at Whole Foods to, for the most part, Whole Foods. Like, fruits, vegetables, things like that. But this is a pack of bacon. And I'm going to take said pack of bacon and spread it out on this foil-lined pan and put it in my oven. Wow, you can see nothing that I'm doing. You can't even see my face. Look at that. And I'm going to put it in this oven and let it cook so that I have bacon for the kids for the next, I don't know how long, because my kids enjoy bacon. Bacon, bacon, bacon. My son's standard breakfast of choice is a bacon hot dog, which is exactly what it sounds like. I just take a slice of bacon and put it on a hot dog bun, and he thinks it is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And since he is my picky child, I will go with that, honestly, because it is better than having him starve or not eat, which would be a terrible alternative. So all that to say, I have spent the last couple of weeks all over the place. All over the doggone place. And, you know, I'm glad that things have gone the way they have. I'm glad that I took the time for myself. Am I still exhausted? Yes. But I realize the reason that I'm so exhausted is because I haven't rested from summer yet. We all know how summer goes with kids. It is the most exhausting period of the year for most of us. And my usual MO is I take the week off, the first week of school for the kids, and I use that as kind of my time to kind of pull myself together. Perhaps there are things around the house that I've been meaning to do but couldn't get around to. Perhaps there are things with my work that I try to kind of organize and get planned. But it occurred to me, I've done none of those things. So instead, I, you know, inadvertently, unintentionally, and beyond my control, added on to my workload infinitely in terms of my overall workload, not just my professional workload, by taking all these trips that I had to take for emergency family reasons and so on. And yeah, I never got the rest that I was supposed to get the first week of school. So here we are, asleep in a parking lot at Home Depot. My husband's gonna kill me for that. But here we are. So I want to share with you, and thank you for being patient with me moving around here, but I want to share with you, great. I put that in my oven. It's a cold oven that I just put to 350 degrees, and the bacon will be cooking, and it'll be done when it's done, I guess maybe 20 minutes or so. When it gets to its my desired crispness for my children. So anyway, what did I learn on my time not sleeping at the parking lot? As you can see, I still even look tired. This is ridiculous. I actually almost came home and just did nothing, but you know, I wanted to do something so at least I make some progress. What did I learn on my kind of mecation, which is what I like to call it? One, I learned / realized more than anything that life is short. Life is very short. And I posted a reel on Instagram about why I felt like, even though I'm still grieving, even though it's still sad that my mother passed, why I feel like I'm at peace with her passing. And a large part of it is I started grieving her long before it was time. Because there were things, I think, you know, when you have expectations of people and those expectations aren't met, it produces a lot of frustration. And for me, working through that frustration meant that at some point I had to accept that my expectations were highly unreasonable, and I had to accept that my expectations were unrealistic. In that, I have to now release that from myself, change my expectations, forgive myself for having unrealistic, unattainable expectations, and also forgiving the other person for, in my mind, not living up to these unrealistic, unreasonable expectations that they didn't even know that I had of them. So that has been a multi-year process for me. And I worked through that. I'm a very introspective person. Oh my gosh, I'm introspective. And it was through that plus therapy that kind of led me to that place of, you know what, I need to let go, and I need to also love that person where they are, in this case, my mother, and love her for who she is and not who I wish that she was. Because none of us live up to the expectations of our children. None of us live up to the expectations of our parents. Your parents may be proud of you. Your parents may be, you know, doting and loving of you, but there are still some things that I'm sure your parents wish of you or wish for you that may or may not be realistic. So there's that. So, you know, life is short. It is. So you have to sort of live in the moment and live in what makes sense and what is realistic and what is attainable. And no matter what you do in terms of healthy living, diet, exercise, doing all the right things, taking the supplements, getting the procedures done, whatever it is, at some point your time will come. And doing all those things does not guarantee that you will live forever. And even though logically we know this, it's a difference when you realize this. And the realization of it is daunting, but at the same time, there's hope, because it allows you to remember, okay, I don't have forever here to do the things that I allege that I want to do, so I might as well get up on it. You know, put your big girl panties on and buckle up, buttercup, and get on the ride, and let's go. There are some projects that I've had in my mind for a while that I have not pursued because they're not, I don't see the return. But I'm realizing now that I have to create the returns for myself. So as a multi-potential, I'm going somewhere with this. Just stay with me, please. Just stay with me. As a multi-potential, meaning someone who has potential in a lot of different areas. I have a lot of different interests. And I'm not just good at one thing, I'm good at multiple things. There are many of us like this. I can be really great in one thing and then totally pivot and be really great at another thing. There are lots of things that people say, hey, you got to do this. You would kill it. Oh my gosh, you would knock this out of the park. And I have to be the one to say, even though I know that I'm capable of doing all the things that need to be done for that particular role or that particular project, that project is not for me, because I'm going to burn out and lose passion on it. But the thing is, you have to identify, what is it that you really want to do? Because you don't have a lot of time to get it done. Or you don't have as much time as you thought to get it done. And also, you don't know when your time is going to be called. And that project is in progress and it hasn't yet. So why not work on it now, so that when your time is called, you can at least say, I did that thing and it worked. And I have created something that now lives on through my children and can benefit my kids and benefit my family and benefit the next generations that come behind me. So life is short. And even though I mentioned that, all the great diet and exercise and plant-based lifestyle and all that kind of stuff doesn't guarantee anything, facts. However, what it does allow is it allows for a quality of life that is not hindered by physical limitations. So when you think about those pharmaceutical commercials with the 65-year-old grandma, and she's out in the yard playing soccer with her kids and kicking the ball around and things. And first of all, I'm thinking to myself, that is highly unrealistic. Name any 65-year-old grandmother who's out kicking a soccer ball with her grandkids. I don't know one. I would like to be one at some point, but I don't know. That's just not, the oven has come to temp. That is just not realistic for most people. However, if you start working towards it now, that will be the case. So you have to start now working on the future that you want to create, because life isn't short. You don't have a lot of time. So you got to start working on it and working on what you want it to be. In that regard, it also, that time away kind of helped me realize there's a lot more that I want to do in terms of quality of life and health. And I really need to start, even though I try to lead a relatively healthy life in terms of what I eat and what I don't eat. And, I don't want to be bound to a pill. I also recognize that pills do not solve everything. They don't. I'm a testimony to that, because right now, side note, I'm struggling with gastroesophageal reflux disease, because I decided that I wanted to have French fries at 6:00 with my salad the other day. And I've had Prilosec, which I know Prilosec takes 2 weeks to work. I've had Prilosec. I have had Pepcid. I have had Zantac. I have had Rolaids. I have had baking soda water. The GERD's still here. The fix for that, no more French fries. I'm done. I know those are strong words to say, but I'm done. Like, the pill does not fix everything. There isn't a pill for everything, and a pill is not a pass toward bad behavior.
It's just not. It's just not. Now, if you eat French fries, are you bad? Absolutely not. If you eat French fries, I am proud of you and I am happy for you because somebody's got to enjoy it, because clearly it cannot be me. Man, them French fries set my tail off. And now I have to sleep sitting up, because if I lay down, it'll exacerbate the GERD, and then I'm coughing all night, and my husband doesn't sleep well, then I don't sleep well, and it's just a mess in my household. So, I'm sorry, I just went off on a tangent here, but the point is, live a healthy life. I have to, sort of take an inventory of what I'm doing with myself in terms of my diet and exercise. And, can I step it up? Sure. There are always levels to everything, but I want to step it up within reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be a raw vegan. I'm just not. I enjoy chicken. Clearly I'm cooking chicken today. I know what my body needs in order to feel full. I did have an entire year that I went vegetarian, low-key vegan. And I think, honestly, it was an emotional response. It was very spontaneous. It was just one day I was like, I don't want to eat meat. I just don't. It was during COVID, so I imagine it was an emotional response to COVID. And so much in the world happening that you had no control over it. And somehow, psychologically, my brain said, oh, but I can control this. And it literally lasted a solid year. I had no interest in meat. No interest whatsoever. And I already don't really fool with dairy too much, so I wasn't cheesing it up. It's just not who I am. But you have to take inventory and figure out, where can I make improvements? Because the older you get, the less leeway that you have in terms of what you can eat and what you cannot, what you can eat and what you can get away with. When you're younger, you can have cookies every day and it's not going to bother you. When you get older, over 40s, you have cookies every day, you got diabetes, or you have, or you have weight gain, or you have some other issue that comes up that you can't control. Also, in my physical activity, I've recommitted to being consistent in the gym. And in my younger days, I was a gym rat. I grew up as a gymnast, and then beyond gymnastics in my 20s, that's just who I am. Fitness is part of who I am. And I know that if my mind isn't right, it's probably because I haven't worked out. I need to go take a walk, go lift weights, go do something. And it always solves it. I always feel better afterwards. And then, of course, there's the physical aesthetic benefits of working out. But I need to recommit myself, because there have been stretches in recent time that I have gone without hitting the gym. And it's not cute, because if you don't use it, you lose it. And thankfully, I still, have some a large modicum of flexibility and strength. But there are significant improvements that I can and should be making. So that's what I'll be working on as well. You got to take care of this. Because if this isn't good, if this isn't right, then you can't do anything else. It's just not going to work. So I got to step out there and do what I'm supposed to do in order to set a good example for my kids, and to be able to be there for the grandkids that I assume will come in 20 years, probably. My daughter's 12, so 20 is a reasonable time frame. Maybe it happens before, maybe it happens later. Maybe my daughter decides she doesn't want to have kids. I don't know, or maybe she has fertility challenges and can't have kids. I don't know what the future holds. But what I do know is what I have right now, and the tools that I have for myself right now to get myself into a better space. So, and to that point, I actually found a yoga class while I was on that extra day and a half, and I went to yoga, which was cool. I hadn't been to a yoga class in at least a couple of years, so it was good to be in that space. And I really want to find an Iyengar yoga class. I did a Iyengar in San Francisco when I lived there, and it was, when I tell you, I felt like Wonder Woman when I walked out of that class. That just did it for me. So in any case, all that to say, I'm cooking chicken, I'm making bacon. I'm sort of meal prepping, if you will, cooking ahead, because this food's going to last for a few days, but it's going to be used in multiple applications, part dinner, part lunch, and so on. I took that time for myself, which I needed desperately, that day and a half. I'm trying to come to terms with kind of facing the reality of the aftermath and the administrative components of dealing with the passing of someone dear and loved to you. I can't bury my head in the sand as much as I want to. I just want it to just poof, just go away. Nothing to do, but there's everything to do. And continuing to learn about myself, like learning, that I have to take care of myself and you have to take care of yourself first and foremost. Because if you don't take care of you, then who's going to take care of these kids? Who's going to take care of your loved ones, your relatives? None of that's going to happen if you don't take care of you. I want to be more in tune with my physical health, my exercise habits, my nutritional habits, more in tune with my sleep. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other conversation. I have got to get some more rest, more quality rest. Right now is not a good time because, like I said, I'm dealing with GERD, which means I don't sleep well because I'm up coughing at night, even though I've taken all the pills and all the medications that I can safely take. So I got to give the Prilosec its 2 weeks to work just because I wanted to eat a side of French fries. This is what I get. This is what I get. It's just better just to avoid it. It's not worth the pain and the headache afterwards. It's just not. Is that all in my summary? I think that's it. So I'm going to continue working on my projects. I'm going to start, with writing down plans for completing my plans, because I think that's what's needed so I don't get off track and I don't get off kilter, because there's a lot of distractions in this world and it's very easy to get off track. And I don't want to get off track. I want to set specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals for myself for getting these things done, because as a business strategist, that is what I would recommend for my clients. So if it's good for them, it's good for me. Okay? I have to be the first one to partake of my own medicine. So in any case, I'm going to cut this off here. This has been long enough. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe. If there's any information you want me to dig down deeper into based on what you've heard today, let me know. But I'm going to get started writing plans. Life is happening back here. I have a mountain of dishes to deal with and things to clean, and I'll be working on that at some point today. And being productive in my life such that I can actually get to bed on time and hopefully gain back some of the hours of sleep that I desperately need. Because like I said, I didn't rest I haven't rested from summer yet. So here I am. Thank you so much for watching. You take care.